Okay, Rodney, you get to hear my my voice, and I know you're happy about that. First of all, I'm so sad that you broke your leg. I cannot believe you did that. And second, I miss you, and so you got to hurry up and get back. But third, I'm going to show you how to do this. This is what we call compound calculations, and it's really easy. I promise. You'll be good at it. But I didn't think you would know what to do if I sent it over without showing you. So with compound calculations, if I have a compound that is like CuCl2, I'm going to lowercase this because this is what we call a subscript, and subscripts are down below. Okay, and if I asked you how many elements are in the compound, then you're going to tell me that there are two. Every time you have a capital letter, okay, that's another compound or another element. Okay, so if you look on your periodic table, you'll see that this is a capital C, little u. It's in the same box together, and it is actually copper. Okay, and then you'll see that Cl, and this is a lowercase l, is in the box together, and it's chlorine. So you'll see that there are two elements, copper and chlorine, that are in that compound. Now, sometimes we ask you how many atoms of each element are in the compound. And if I ask you that, then you're going to tell me, well, Cu, we have one, okay? And the reason we have one is there's no number right here next to Cu. Now, that wouldn't be 0 or it wouldn't be in this compound, okay? So we assume it to be 1 if there's no number there, okay? Cl, however, there's a number right here, and so it has 2. So super easy, okay? Let's see. If we put a 2 in front of the CuCl2, if you hear yelling, that's Mr. Palmer's class, of course. If we put a, fix this first. If we put a 2 in front of that, then it's a little bit different. And what that's telling me is that I have, let me fix this. That tells me this 2 right here is a coefficient, just like in math, and it tells you you have 2 molecules, okay? And so you have 2 molecules of this compound, CuCl2, okay? And so if that's the case, then just like in math, a coefficient multiplies or distributes to everything. In this case, you would still have 2 elements, which are copper and chlorine, but if I ask you how many atoms of each, you would tell me that Cu has 2 times 1, which gives you 2, okay? And then Cl has now 2 times 2, which gives you 4, okay? Which is super easy. Okay, so if I have a situation like, grab one of these, MgOH2, okay, and I'm going to drop this down, okay. Then what this is telling me is I have one molecule because there's no number up here in front of this. And so if I ask you how many elements, okay, then right now on your paper, write down how many elements you think I would have. You can pause me so there's not an awkward silence here. Okay, so yeah, you would have 3 elements, and the names of those, if you look them up on the periodic table, would be magnesium, you would have oxygen, and you would have hydrogen. Okay, now if they're capital letters, it is an element. I mean, it is a new element, and I'll show you what the issue can be in just a minute. If I ask you how many atoms of each in the compound, like we did before, then you would do, pull this back up, sorry. Okay, then MG has 1, there's no number there. Okay. O, on the regular basis, OH is in here, and that's a hydroxide polyatomic ion, which you don't have to worry about right now. But OH kind of works together. And so we put this in the parentheses together. But it's telling me I have 2 of these. And when you have a number outside the parentheses, that number applies to only what's on the inside of the parentheses. So O would have 2 times 1, which it would normally have, which would give me 2. And then H would have 2 times 1, which would give me 2. Okay? Now, it could get hairy if I have this. I'm going to cut and paste this and be lazy. Okay? If I put 2 molecules of that. Okay? So if I put 2 molecules of this, then it gets a little hairy. Not hard to do, but just a little bit different. Okay? So if I say how many atoms, then Mg, I've got this 2 in front of here, which applies to the whole shebang. Okay, so 2 times 1 gives me 2 of those. Okay, and then O, I would normally have 2 times 1, which gives me 2, but now I have another 2 up here, so 2 times 2 gives me 4. Okay, and then I also have H over here, which would have 2 times 1 is 2, but then we got to multiply it by 2, which would give me 4. Okay, now another thing I might ask you is how many total atoms. And you really have to pay attention to what the quiz or test or whatever is asking you, because on EOC it may ask you for total atoms in the compound, and that would mean that you just have to add all these up. So 8 plus 2 would give me 10. Okay. One more of these with the parentheses. Let me grab one of these. Okay, this is one from your sheet that I'm sending over to your mom. I just want to make sure you know how to do this. So we have NH4, 2, and I'll fix those in a second, CO3. Okay, so let me fix the subscripts here so it's not confusing. Okay, so on your paper, on the left-hand side of that paper, or on the first paper, it says how many elements are in each one. Okay, so the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to go through and tell me how many elements you have. So right now on your paper, I want you to write down how many elements. Pause me. And this is actually number 8, I think. Okay, so you do have 4 elements. Okay, it would be nitrogen, hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen. Okay, most people get this wrong because they think that this capital C and is a little o, so that it's cobalt on the periodic table, but that's not the case. This is capital C, capital O, so that is carbon and oxygen. If you see it and it's cobalt, it'll be capital C, little o, so be careful about that. Okay, now I want you to go back and write down how many atoms of each. Okay, so while you're doing that, pause. Okay, so you should have nitrogen has, this 2 applies to only the parentheses. Okay, so 2 times 1 gives you 2. Hydrogen would have 2 times 4, which gives you 8. Okay, the 2 does not apply to this time. So carbon has no number here, which we assume to be 1. And then oxygen has 3. Okay. Oops. Okay, on your sheet, if you notice on the very first ones, then you're going to tell how many elements are in each compound and the names, and that gets you used to the periodic table. Okay, on the second sheet, it's the exact same compounds that you did on the first one, but in this case, you're doing this. Okay, you're telling how many elements you have, or how many atoms you have of each one. You are not telling the total. okay? If you have any questions, have Mom email me or you can text me on Remind. But otherwise, I hope you get to feeling better soon and we get to see you. Talk to you later, Rodney. Bye.